Just follow this, Purav.
10 सेकंड में चालू करते हैं सर.
Hmm?
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Draper won, Mahach won, Diminor Evans who won, and Thompson.
Thompson.
Sir.
So you'll just keep going through this from.
Can I see a two shot?
10 सेकंड में चालू कर देते हैं.
Can I see a two shot? Oh, you're starting this now. Okay, fine. Because does this look bad or no?
Good.
It's fine. Okay, because it's a lot easier for me.
ये iris कमी करेगा.
So we're starting on cam 1. Purav that's your close, is my close.
Yes.
The main cam. That's cam 1, no?
Yes. Start on cam 1.
Huh?
Cam 1 से start करेंगे.
Cam 1 से start करेंगे.
So you have to do this and then do a pre.
Do this.
A pre.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our show. We are the Tennis Geeks. Now, there is always a lot of action happening in the world of tennis. Whether you take it, what's happening with the US Open right now, with Novak Djokovic out, with Alcaraz out. There's opportunities, there's a lot of rising and falling, there's controversies, everybody knows what's happening with Yannick Sinner. Last week it was Jack Draper. There's just always so much happening, and that's where we come in. And I'm Somdev Devvarman, my good friend Purav Raja, and together we are the Tennis Geeks. And Purav,
It's a pleasure to be on, Som, and finally we're here. Finally we've done this, and it's a long time coming, and I'm happy that we made this happen, and we are the Tennis Geeks, and this is a platform that, we will give everyone tennis analysis, and I hope that we can make it the best talk show in the world. So I'm happy to do it with you, and let's get straight down to it.
all right, let's get straight down to it. So the first thing, we have to take you through today's order of play for our show. So for our show today, what we're going to do is, since it's our first show, a recap of week one in both the men's and the women's draws. We'll break down the quarters because that's what tennis players like to do. The next thing we'll do is the big upsets that have happened, which now creates different opportunities in different sections of the draw for people to make a run. Talk of the tour. No bonus points for guessing exactly what talk of the tour is. I think everybody knows, and you'll have our take on that. And finally, we'll end with a few pointers, a few break points that I think all our viewers should have while we go into week two. So, shall we begin, Purav?
Yeah, but let's make this like really fun for everyone. Everyone, please send in your comments and let us know if we can interact in any other way, and let us know if we need to talk about anything else. We're here for you guys. So so we're just going to break down tennis for them and give them everything they want to know.
All right, so here we go. Let's begin. So now talking about the men's draw, that's where we'll begin. And again, we're going to break this down section by section, because as tennis players, the first thing we do when we go into a tournament is, yes, we look at the draw, but win majors, 128, that's just way too many names, way too much action. So we're going to do it quarter by quarter. First section of the men's draw, Purav. You wanna take this?
Yeah, I think we got to talk about Yannick Sinner, and I'm sure we'll be talking about him a lot more in a lot of different ways in the next few minutes. But Yannick Sinner, just the way that he had a little bit of struggle in his first round, but the way he's come through in the next two rounds and the way the draw is shaping up, the only real challenge I see right now is actually Tommy Paul coming up in the next round. I don't really see a challenge for him if he is to face Medvedev. So the big name we got to talk about really is Yannick Sinner at the top, because he's now got to be the overwhelming favorite. So
yeah, and also let's not forget about the things that Yannick Sinner has to deal with, and to put all of that behind him to come back.
Like what?
So the other interesting thing about the first quarter is Sinner and Medvedev are remaining. They happen to be the only two left in the draw that have won majors, and they happen to be in the exact same quarter. So I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Surprises from the first quarter. First of all, no surprise from Tommy Paul. He's playing at an incredibly high level. He's, one of the most athletic guys out there. He's one of the most electric guys out there. A lot of good things happening for American tennis.
I think this is it. And I think that's where we got to come in and say that this is the slam. Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz have to do, and I got to say Frances Tiafoe, but I saw a recent interview with Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz, said, what do you wish for each other? And both of them were like, we really wish that we both win a slam. And and now it could be a reality. I honestly see this draw wide open. We talk about Medvedev, but is it the same Medvedev? I'm not sure. And
I disagree. I think it is. I think this current Medvedev that we're seeing is just an insane Medvedev, because there's a couple things. So while we're talking about the draw, it's noteworthy to mention that the conditions at the US Open this year are less lively than they have been in years past, and that bodes really well for someone like a Daniel Medvedev.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. It's US Open. He's done it before. This has been his best tournament for years. But let's be honest, Som, this is not the same guy. He's not made a final this year. He's made he's made a final. He's made a final. Not won a tournament this year. He's made a final against Sinner in Melbourne. He's not won a tournament this whole year. He's made an average semi-finals. I say average for his level. We thought this guy was going to be a dominator. He's not a dominator anymore. He's Daniil Medvedev, and he's a solid 3, 4, 5 player, and that's where he is today. And I don't see him dominate the world the same way.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Medvedev, Sinner, you also have to, first of all, a massive shout out to Mensik. He's the real deal. I mean, this guy is absolutely unbelievable. Nuno Borges. I mean, for this guy to make another deep run in a slam, I think is... I
think
don't know.
Borges is going in to be the greatest ever Portuguese player. If he wins his next match, he'll be the greatest ever Portuguese player to play tennis. And he'll take over the 26th in the world of João Sousa. And that's how big this moment is for him.
All right, so now, also don't forget, last year, semi-finals, Medvedev versus Alcaraz. Everyone was looking forward to Alcaraz versus Novak. Medvedev comes in, plays spoil sport.
Yeah.
He knows how to handle these situations. However, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's move over to the second quarter. And of course, the big news, Alcaraz. Alcaraz going down to Botic van de Zandschulp. Did you see that coming?
I didn't see it coming, and I also didn't see Botic play so poorly today after beating Alcaraz. And I that was surprising to me. And, you know, credit to Jack Draper to beat him, but Botic played two such, you know, different matches, if I can say. One match he was pretty much unbeatable, and the next match against Draper he barely showed up. So he could be the most erratic player on the tour, Botic van de Zandschulp.
I know, and if you also heard Alcaraz's statements, he said he expected a lot more errors from Botic van de Zandschulp, which he didn't get. Again, I'll attribute that to the fact that they're deader conditions. So
there was a point today where Botic served 5 double faults in a row.
That's ridiculous.
Against Draper. He served 5 double faults in a row. He ended the game double, started the game double. And
that's
he put
ridiculous.
the serve in at love 40. And that was in the third set. And that's the level I'm talking about. Against Alcaraz, the guy looked unplayable.
He was flawless.
Yeah, so I just feel like, you know, tennis now might have more of these type of players.
Now, while we're talking about Alcaraz, the fact that he did lose early, do you think the two players that obviously made deep runs at the Olympics, Novak, Alcaraz, both of them coming in here, Alcaraz playing poorly in Cincinnati for his standards. In his own words, he said it's the worst match he's ever played against Monfils, the one he lost.
Yeah.
Comes back over here. Obviously, he wasn't finding his form. Was it the injury? Is there a reason? Was it the mental stress for someone like Alcaraz to kind of, you know, clay, grass, back to clay for the Olympics, it's far from ideal.
Yeah, I think, you know, and you've hit it. I think that the Olympics, the problem is not the tennis played in the Olympics. The problem is the lead up that we don't talk about. The problem is the lead up to the Olympics and the fact that you got to train for so many weeks, play on clay, get ready for possibly one tournament in the next 4 years. This could be, he's going to play, 3 Olympics? Djokovic probably played his last Olympics.
Leander played 7.
I'll tell you, these guys are not going for that record, that's for sure. But I'm just saying that, you know, it's just very, very difficult. The preparation and the recovery to the clay is very, very different and very much tougher than any other surface.
And not to mention the emotional lows and the emotional highs and recovering from it. And yes, we will talk about Novak because, he's out. But in that second section, the opportunities now are Alex de Minaur, who first of all, it's nothing short of a miracle that he's out here playing and competing, because after his 4th round at Wimbledon, he had a hip problem. He went over to Serbia, did some work on it, and no one thought he'd be back playing at this level. And does he now have a chance to break his quarterfinal? Never been past a quarterfinal.
I think you got to put him as favorite. I think at least seed-wise, you got to put him in. What I'm seeing here, he's the favorite for sure. I think that the problem comes for de Minaur is that he's a great semi-finalist for whoever he plays, and he's a great. The way that I see it is that is he a Grand Slam champion? Is somebody putting de Minaur in to be a Grand Slam champion? That's a very, very brave man doing that.
Well, the other thing is you have to talk about his opponent, and that is Jordan Thompson. Again, I love it when I see not the top guys that everybody expects making runs. Jordan Thompson has made 1 4th round run to the US Open before, and he's just one of those guys that's clinical in the sense where he wins matches that he's
No,
supposed
no.
to
Do
win.
I see him beating? Do I see him beating Jordan Thompson? Yes, I
Yes.
do. Do I see him beating Jack Draper though? No, I don't. I don't, because I think Jack Draper has got a bigger upside than De Minaur. Can Jack Draper win the tournament? I'd say yes. He's a big lefty. He comes in like Shelton, like he comes in like, you know, he can
He's
cause.
hot.
He's hot right now. You know, can De Minaur get that hot? You need to get hot in these slams to win one. Can you get that hot? I'm not sure he can. I'm not sure that, you know, he has that level, and I'm not seeing it enough from that slight a guy.
Yeah, and okay, now moving on. We finished the first half now of the
wow.
men's draw.
It took some time, but
It took a little bit of time. Moving to the third quarter. Third quarter, Casper Ruud being Mr. Consistent. People forget that he's a 3-time Grand Slam finalist, and he's got a tough out. Taylor Fritz. Big surprise from Nakashima coming all the way down there. And now Nakashima has Zverev. One of those guys is going to make semis. Who do we look at as the favorite there?
I mean, you got to, you know, Ruud's beaten Fritz twice. So the only 2 times they've played, Ruud's won both. I think it could be different this time with the way the conditions are playing. But I honestly don't see anything past Zverev here. I got to put Zverev in as overwhelming favorite. He plays a lot like Nakashima plays a lot like Zverev, just a little bit worse in every department. And, you know, it's a great run from Nakashima to beat Musetti, to come through this draw. He's had a average 2023 to come through like this. Great effort by Nakashima, but I just don't see anything past Zverev here. Do you?
I mean, this is the thing. I just don't know what to expect completely, because if you're Fritz, if you're Taylor Fritz, you have to believe that you have the game to beat Casper Ruud. Right?
Yeah, and he might do, and he could, but it's just, it's, have we seen, is Taylor Fritz one of those underperforming Grand Slam players? So if he doesn't make it here, you'll put him in as a
Maybe. But I mean, I'm with you. Sasha is the overwhelming favorite from that third section. But we do know that Sasha can get a little
trouble
tight.
for sure. That's
Sasha can get very, very tight. So that's, well, we have to see how that plays out. Now, the fourth quarter. Again, talk about 3 quarters that are absolutely wide open. The second quarter is wide open. The third quarter, while Zverev is the favorite, the others will
everything's
fancy.
wide open now.
Now that Novak has lost, to Alexei Popyrin, what do you think is going through the minds of Andrei Rublev, Grigor Dimitrov, Francis Tiafoe, and Alexei Popyrin in that fourth quarter? One of them is going to make semis.
Yeah, I mean, they're all just saying this is our opportunity. This is the time that, you know, boys become men. This is the time we really show that, you know, we can. Can Rublev make this Grand Slam final? Can Dimitrov do something at the top now, finally come of age? And, you know, Tiafoe's already made a semi-final. Popyrin, what a run he's having. This is completely open. Your pick is as good as mine here. I'm not going to pick someone. I don't think Popyrin's going to make it through to the semi-finals, if I'm going to guess that. But, you know, anyone else in there, Tiafoe's done it before. Rublev, obviously, we know his caliber, and Dimitrov's done it before.
But how many times has Rublev lost in the quarterfinal? Can he break that curse? What, 10, 11?
8,
I think it's double digits.
Oh, wow.
But it's incredible, because he's got a really tough match against someone like Dimitrov, who's going to completely change.
Very even head-to-head. I think 4-3 Rublev.
But the matchup. Rublev's going to stand behind the baseline and, you know, play hammerhead tennis, hit the forehand as hard as he can. Dimitrov's going to be a lot more of the artist over there.
Slice, dink,
super
and
athletic.
It's a different Dimitrov. It's a different Dimitrov this year.
And also, can we talk about how great the resurgence of someone like a Grigor Dimitrov has been?
Unreal. I mean, he was 50 in the world not long ago. 50 in the world last year, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's where we are. That's the 4 quarters of the draw. Now, based on all of that, where do we summarize where we're at with the tournament right now?
I think we got to say, you know, obviously putting in Yannick Sinner as the guy to beat. He is the guy to beat right now.
Is it his tournament to lose?
I think it's, I mean, for more than one reason. It's probably his tournament. It's probably...
What are those reasons?
It's probably his tournament to lose. But, you know, saying that, I mean, it's a tournament for everybody else to win. Can Medvedev win it? Of course he can.
Okay, so we talked about the fact that Yannick Sinner and Medvedev are the only slam winners. That being said, for semi-finalists, for finalists, Casper Ruud is the only one out there. Apart from them, sorry, Casper Ruud and Sasha Zverev. Sorry about that. Semi-finalists, there's not that many. Grigor Dimitrov, Francis Tiafoe. So basically, we're looking at a breakthrough tournament for someone. Now, who's the most likely? Did you already say Jack Draper?
I'm saying Jack Draper. I'm just saying Jack Draper because I've said it for a while. I think he's got the right mentality to go forward. I'd love to put Nuno Borges in there if I can, but you know, I just feel like Jack Draper's got that X factor. He's ready to take British tennis forward.
Okay, so that being said, high chances for a first-time semi-finalist, small chances for a first-time winner, breakthrough or career-defining chances for many, and all of the first American finalist for a long time.
First American finalist. Do you think American tennis will now, once they make a final, that will be the breakthrough? That, I mean, we all saw it in golf. I'm talking men's tennis, obviously.
Obviously, yes, men's tennis. We will get to the women in a bit, but I wouldn't go there. And the reason I wouldn't go there is not because they're not playing at a ridiculously high level. Tiafoe is obviously playing, you know, really well. Ben Shelton, let's not forget, he's hot every time he steps on a court.
I'd put Tommy Paul in there to win it. If I'm to put a player over, I'll put Jack Draper and Tommy Paul as my two chances. If I'm someone who wants to take a chance, I'll put something on Draper and Tommy Paul to win the tournament.
Well, my problem with Tommy Paul is his next match is Sinner. And he has to now beat Sinner from the baseline.
If he does beat Sinner, and he's done it before.
That's a big if.
If he done it before, he's done it before. And if he does beat Sinner, that's a wide open section. And that's Tommy Paul now talking, because he can really do something that, you know, no American's done.
And the reason, again, coming back to what you asked me earlier 2 seconds ago, why do I not say that there's a resurgence? Because the problem is that the top of the game is already set. The top of the game is Sinner, is Alcaraz, is Novak. They're dominating every tournament they enter. They're the favorites. Then there's the second rung, which is, you know, the Medvedevs, Tsitsipas. We'll get to Tsitsipas in a second.
Rublev.
What's happening there? Rublev. Those are the guys that are... Zverev, 100%. You have to put Zverev up there. So
you're not putting Zverev in the top rung?
No, not right now. I would say he's a step behind the others, just based on what we've seen. Just based on
number 2 in the world, though.
I know, but do you put him in the same light as Alcaraz?
I have to now. I have to. If he does well this slam, I'll have to put him in. I think it's his slam also to lose. If Sinner and Zverev are the two favorites, my dark horse is a Draper and Tommy Paul.
Okay, well that's a lot from just the draw. Now that's where we do stand with the tournament right now. You want to talk a little bit about Novak?
Yeah, I think
the upset. We do have to talk about the upsets, don't we?
I think we got to talk about Novak. I mean, where do I start? What do I say with this guy? I mean, it's just such a subdued performance. It's just so poor. Did he come into this year thinking, I just want to win the Olympics and then that's it? It almost looks like that. It looks like a guy who's just come in saying, you know, this is my Olympic year. I'm going to do this in the Olympics. It's my last one and I'll try for 25 or 26 next year. It just looks like such a poor performance. And it looks
You're being harsh, man. The guy made finals of Wimbledon after 20 days.
And that looked very average as well. That looked poor.
I mean,
that didn't look like Novak Djokovic out there. It didn't look like a guy who's won 24 Grand Slams who'd give anything to win his 25th one, and that's how he won 24, because he was the one who would give anything and he'd go the extra mile to win. Do you think he went the extra mile against Alexei Popyrin?
No, I don't.
Do you think he went the extra mile against Carlos Alcaraz in that final?
I think he tried to go the extra mile in the final.
Maybe
I don't think he blocked it. Maybe it's more than that. Now, here's what I will say. In terms of coming back from an emotional high, the last time we saw this in Novak was in 2016. Now, remember, back in 2016, Novak Djokovic had not yet won a Roland Garros title. So in 2015, he lost in the final to Stan. 2014, he lost in the final to Rafa. And now he's come into 2016, never won a major, never won Roland Garros, and somehow finally beats Andy Murray in that final, right? What do we see from Novak Djokovic after that? He goes Wimbledon third round, lost to Sam Querrey, goes US Open final, doesn't win that. I mean, again, finals a fantastic performance.
I agree with everything.
But that massive emotional high, which we know that
Novak, it's not an emotional high. It's the norm. He's the greatest player of all time. He's meant to win these. If he does not win a Grand Slam or does not make a final, that's when we're surprised. It's not he is the greatest player the world has ever seen by numbers. He's the greatest player the world will probably ever see by numbers. He's a guy who's chasing 30 Grand Slams. An Olympic medal, if he didn't win gold or didn't win a medal, it wouldn't be justice to tennis. He deserved a medal more than anybody else. This is the most normal thing he did. It's not out of the ordinary.
It's not. It's not. And now we're talking about that. I think it's only fair that we have to talk about the unbelievable rise of Alexei Popyrin, because it's one thing to walk into a match and beat Novak, but why does that happen? The last 2 times they played 4 sets, belief is growing. He goes out and he wins his first Master Series title. Now he's got 3 titles, obviously the biggest one. He walks into that 3rd round match against Novak Djokovic believing that he has a chance to win this match. And the one big thing that I see with Alexei Popyrin is the fact that he's got Xavier Malisse and Neville Godwin as coaches. Now, what do you think something like that can add?
You know, it's clear. I mean, the one thing that was lacking in Alexei Popyrin was his mentality. And that's been his problem for a long time. And he said by his own admission that it's been lacking. And that's the one thing that Godwin and Malisse have addressed. And I think, you know, a lot of other people can learn from that.
All right, now, moving on, Alcaraz. Alcaraz losing. I mean, everybody said, well, he's got 4 majors. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. He's a once-in-a-generation player. Why do these sort of results happen? Do you still believe that he can beat 24 majors? Because he's already at 4, which is insane to think about because he's 21 years old.
No, I don't believe he can win 24 majors. I don't think anybody can. I don't think we should be putting him in with the likes of Federer, Nadal and Djokovic because they didn't lose these matches. They never lost these type of matches. They never lost a random match at a slam. I remember very few, and I can tell you Rafa at Wimbledon, and that's the only one I remember. And the reason I remember that, because he always won the French. And he always won Roland Garros, and then he lost early, and there was a problem at Wimbledon, and he lost to Dustin Brown, he lost to Russell, he lost to Darcis, and I remember him having this kind of recurrence of results, and that's the only one I remember. I don't remember Federer losing, even at Roland Garros. I'm sure he's lost some bad matches. I just don't remember.
Novak did lose to Istomin. Novak did lose to Hyun Chung.
I mean, we're talking, and then he won every other, and then he won every other one.
So he's 21.
Yeah, I just can't see it.
I know it's a long way away. I actually believe that he has the ability to get to 24. And I'll tell you why. Because he's got a head start on all of them. He's got a head start on the big 4. He's got a crazy team around him. Everybody knows his talent. The question is, I mean, yeah, these matches are going to happen against, I mean, one thing that this
Are they going to happen? He's got to go 24 slams.
I mean, the one thing that screams at me with these sort of results is I think it's undervalued at how good the top level really is.
And also how physical
it's very physical.
Tennis has got so much more physical than it was when Roger, Rafa, Novak.
Basically 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, they were all playing a level and they were demolishing guys. They were winning 1, 2, and 3. I mean, they were just chopping guys.
I mean, Rafa at the French was a joke.
It was a joke. And now it's not the same for Alcaraz. He's got to put in 100% if he's going to win the match. And often he has got to put a lot of physical effort.
Okay. Now, so you say Alcaraz can't win 24. I say Alcaraz possibly can. It's a long shot and it's a long way to go, barring
I
injuries.
like your optimism in that.
Barring injuries. But every time he walks into a tournament, he's the favorite.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's 21.
But
the fact that these guys have played well past 35, I mean, that gives him more than 15 years.
But it's a lot more
to win
physical.
20.
But it's a lot, and it's a lot of luck.
It is. There's a lot of things involved, injuries. However, let's now talk about Stefanos Tsitsipas, because this is a question mark, really, because, I mean, the guy's got game. The guy's got insane ability. Can we hit the nail on the head with what's going on?
Yeah, probably. And the answer is probably the dad. And I honestly
It can't be that simple.
I honestly think the answer is the dad. I mean, the dad keeps coming in and out of his coaching spree, and obviously, I'm sure you have a lot to add about the coaching stuff that you like. But you know, I'm just based on the dad's. You know, we got to remember Serena Williams had 2 careers, one with Mouratoglou and one with her dad. And there's two very different careers. And I'm not saying Tsitsipas will be Serena Williams, but you got to assume that this is time for the dad to step away and for him to get the right coaching team and the right team on board.
And the funny, he's been super vocal about that.
Yeah,
too.
I think he's very, very intelligent. I think Tsitsipas, the problem with him is that he's too intelligent. He's too intelligent in terms of philosophy. He's too intelligent in the meaning of life. All his quotes are the meaning of the world, the way the world works. It's a little bit, how do I put it out? He's larger than life. He's always thinking about the world and
Holistically.
Holistically. And I don't think that helps him in tennis.
I mean, okay, here's what I will say about coaching. Look at Michael Russell. Michael Russell, former player. I played a lot with him. We played a lot with him around my ranking, somewhere around 50, 60. Great coach. He has been a superbly positive impact on Taylor Fritz, and no one can argue anything different. Look at Simone Vainozzi. Again, not top player, but about a little outside 100, but knew the tour really well, knows the game really well, and knows exactly what Jannik Sinner needs. That's just two examples. Look at Xavier Malisse and the positive impact that he's had. Look at Wayne Ferreira and the positive impact he had on Francis Tiafoe earlier. And we just saw Aldi, right? We saw Aldi out there with Choboli.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at Stefanos Tsitsipas, yes, I do know that he worked with Mark Philippoussis. What do you think is the big difference of working with a name like a Mark Philippoussis versus some of the other names I just mentioned?
I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head by saying that what you're looking for in a coach doesn't necessarily mean a great player. But we see the same thing, and I'd love to use a football analogy here and compare Frank Lampard or Steven Gerrard. They were great players. I mean, they were twice the players of Jurgen Klopp and Jose Mourinho. And finally...
And Pep.
And finally, we see the same thing happen. And there's no comparison in managers. Just the mentality is just so different. And the way that you become this great coach or this great person is by having this mindset. And the key to Vainozzi, Malisse, Michael Russell is that they have the right knowledge and the right mindset to bring to that team, and that's not necessary in a player. So just because he was a great player, Mark Philippoussis, he was a phenomenal tennis player. There was no doubt he was a better tennis player. He made Grand Slam finals consistently, and there's no doubt. But was he known as an intelligent tennis player? I'm not sure about that.
All right, that's fair. And we do also, I would love to see, Stefanos Tsitsipas go out there, but I do believe that no questions asked, he has to figure out his coaching situation, because for as talented as he is, the fact that he's underperforming as often as he is a shame.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so that's what we have with the men's draw. I think it's time to now take a deep dive into what's happening with the women's, and we're going to follow the exact same format. Now, first quarter with the women, Iga Swiatek sailing through as expected. The big ones that are falling early in that first quarter, Andreeva, and also the last time we're seeing Danielle Collins in a major.
Yeah, I think, talk about Danielle Collins. I mean, she went about her career so quietly, and she went out so quietly. I mean, Danielle Collins is one of those, you obviously have a closer relationship with her, being from the same college, and you've come from the same kind of background. But for someone like me, she just seems like somebody who just came. She conquered a little bit. She made a Grand Slam final. She had that amazing moment with Ash Barty, and then she left. And then, that's the last we saw of Danielle Collins for the player that she was.
You are one of the harshest people in the world.
I am. I'm sorry. I really am.
I think Danielle Collins is an overachiever. I really do.
No. I'm talking about just the way that she came about and having the best year of her life, having the best year of her, major season. I mean, she's had everything going for her, and now this is the last time we see her. We generally see players achieve and then retire. It seems like Danielle Collins on the brink of achieving something big in 2025, and that's the last we see of her.
Yeah, but she is getting older. We understand.
Fair.
She's getting
and
older.
Probably there's a lot of issues with this, but I see Danielle Collins better today than I saw her last year.
Yeah, I do. But personal choices.
Yeah.
I completely see the fact that she wants to stop. She wants to do it for whatever reason she wants to. Now, talking about one slam wonders, Sofia Kenin, Emma Raducanu, also out in that first quarter. Are they one slam wonders?
Yes. And they are, because the problem is that if you're not putting yourself in the second week of slams consistently, then you don't have half a chance of winning one. And I'm saying that, and you can just see the number of times. How many times have you spoken about Kenin and Raducanu and said, yes, they're in the semi-finals now. They're now in the semi-finals of a major, and they're ready to conquer, or at least in the quarterfinals.
Not with Emma, but definitely with Sophia.
Sophia, not enough.
Not enough. I mean, when she did win
when
the
she did
win the Aussie, she did make the final.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
at Roland Garros, but since then, we're not really seeing deep runs. I mean, Madison Keys is much more successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that with respect to Kenin and Raducanu. I mean, they need to prove that they're in second weeks of every slam if they want to be considered as Grand Slam contenders.
Now, the next person that has absolutely shocked me, Sara Irani. The fact that she is still out there, she's still playing, and keep in mind, Sara Irani has, a poor serve. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a poor serve, and I think I'm being generous with that statement. Unbelievable doubles player with that serve. What does Sara Irani have that allows her, with such a lack of power, to still be successful?
I think she's got the grit, and she's got the ability to fight through every point. She's got the ability to make that one more ball, and she accepts that she doesn't have a great serve. I mean, in the doubles, she stays back,
and her partner stays back.
And the partner stays back. I mean, that happened even when Irani was playing with Vinci. They both stayed back when Irani was serving, and that's the level of you understanding your own game. I understand it's a very weak serve, so I got to do other things. And her physical ability and her love for the game is just something special.
And Diane Schneider, the young one, going through. Don't forget about that. Also, Jessica Pegula. She's back. She's back from injury. Also has not broken a quarterfinal. And if she does get there, then she has Iga Swiatek. And tough one there, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's another Swiatek run coming up. And just the people she plays and just the draw she has, makes me think that Iga Swiatek is overwhelming favorite again.
All right, let's move to the second quarter. Rybakina is pulling out. That is the big news, obviously. Rybakina also splitting with coach.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what that's about. But Rybakina, the sixth time she's pulled out this year. It's not the first. Sixth time she's pulled out this year.
So something's up.
Something's up. Rybakina, something's up. I think every time she plays, she does well, though. A bit like Mukova.
Mukova is one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely one of my favorite players to watch. She is in the next quarter. But Caroline Wozniacki, another player coming out of retirement, playing half a schedule, and now once again making fourth round.
Yeah. And maybe tennis needs this. Maybe tennis needs half a schedule for a lot of these players. And Rybakina, Wozniacki, Mukova, all showing that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Mukova is in the same quarter. I did make a mistake. There's 128 names out here. Sometimes that happens. But Mukova, how impressive has she been? Because the fact that she's barely playing any matches.
She's honestly, she's played 5 tournaments home. She's 52 in the world.
With 5 tournaments.
52 in the world right now, with 5 tournaments played. Okay, she is defending US Open semi-finals where she lost to Goff, but I'm just saying she's played 5 tournaments this year, and she's 52 in the world. If I played 5 tournaments, I'd be lucky to be 1,000. I'm not joking. I swear to God, I'll be lucky to be 1,000 in the world if I played 5 tournaments. I mean, it's just crazy. The ability that Caroline Mukova has, and she's another surprise package. I mean, who's to say she can't win this Grand Slam?
Because now she will be up against Paolini, who is having a season of her life, and a season of her dreams. Jasmine,
Paolini, as good as she is,
unbelievable.
Unbelievable for her height, for the way that she's come about, for the way that she's playing, for her grit, for
this late in her career.
Yeah,
this late in her career.
But just to say that, I would put Mukova in as a bigger favorite to win that slam than Paolini.
Then okay, win that section. Let's say who's coming through that section, because that's the semi-final. That whoever comes through that second section. Now we finished the second. Moving on to the third. Wimbledon champ out in the second round, Krejcikova. We do see more upsets in the women than the men usually. This tournament is very different, of course. But Krejcikova, how do you sum up Krejcikova? Because unbelievable player, but has results like this.
Yeah, I always see her either lose early or do really well. And I don't see that middle ground. It's never like, Krejcikova lost 4th round or made the quarters. It's always like Krejcikova lost, in the 1st, 2nd or 3rd round, or she's in the finals. and it's always like that. And every time she makes a final, she looks like somebody who's always belonged there. It happened at the French Open. Now it's happened at Wimbledon. I mean, this girl is just, phenomenal when it gets to later stages. And I mean, very late stages of the tournament. Krejcikova is unbeatable. Does she get there, though? No, not very often.
Yeah.
And when she does,
High risk tennis.
Yeah, I mean, and she's a great talent. She's great to watch. but
Unbelievable. Doubles player.
I honestly think, coming back to Czech tennis, I think Mukova is the one to watch out for. She'd be winning a slam very, very soon.
All right, if she remains
If
healthy.
she remains healthy, yeah.
But also in that section, the another one, Krejcikova's out. Opportunity opens up. Badosa. Badosa is back. Let's not forget that Badosa was, top 5 in the world not too long ago. Injured, comes back, and now good chance she plays Yufan Wang to get to the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and she's got a good coach in Stefanos.
Great coach. Did you see how annoyed Tsitsipas was when
In
he
the
threw
mixed
that
doubles?
racket? Have you ever seen a top singles player that annoyed in the mix?
No, in a mixed doubles match where they're playing for not a lot at stake. There's no points. There's not a lot at stake. For Tsitsipas and Badosa, there's almost nothing at stake apart from hanging out together and just being in that environment, saying we played a Grand Slam together.
That to me is a massive, massive, massive sign that Tsitsipas really needs to get somebody in his corner. Somebody, whoever it is. There's plenty of good. Anyway, coming back to the women's draw, Navarro and Goff. This is one of my favorites because Emma Navarro, to me, again, we talked about Danielle Collins, we talked about Brandon Nakashima, now we're talking about Emma Navarro, University of Virginia. Shout out. Unbelievable because, NCAA champion, billionaire family, similar to Pegula. And now she's made this remarkable breakthrough and she's up against Coco Gauff. But more than the breakthrough, it's just been the consistent rise of Emma Navarro. Do you think she has a chance against Gauff?
Yeah, she has a big chance. She beat her at Wimbledon. She had a big chance. She broke down Goff's forehand single-handedly at Wimbledon. She literally just hit every ball there, and she knew the way to tackle Coco Gauff. Now, that's the advantage for being in the same country. I'm sure they practice a lot together. I'm sure they hang out a lot together. And, Emma Navarro...
Less intimidation.
Yeah, Emma Navarro is a student of the game. She's learned the method to beat Coco Gauff. Now, is it easy to beat Coco Gauff? Of course it's not. Will the conditions in New York help Coco Gauff? Yes, they will, compared to Wimbledon.
Will the crowd help? Yes, they will.
Will the crowd help? But I mean, they're both from America. But they're both from America.
Yeah, but Coco's the bigger star.
Yeah. But I just don't think it'll be that biased. It'll be.
I think
they'll be friendly.
No, I think it'll be. It will be friendly. But much more support for Coco than for Emma.
Well, I just see it like a match that Emma Navarro can definitely win.
I think that's a match that Navarro can win, and I think this is a massive opportunity.
Can Coco crumble again on the forehand? Can a second serve crumble?
Yes, it can, because we've seen it time and time again.
Then it's tough. Then it's trouble.
I mean, she may also play fantastic, and she may also come through that. But fourth quarter, this is, again, stacked. Qinwen Zheng continuing her fantastic form from her big events, the reigning gold medalist. And she's really come a really long way. At the end of last year, she didn't really have a coach. She was working with Wim Bassett. Wim Bassett, took the job with Osaka. She was left coachless. Coco Gauff was working with Pere Riba. And I love the shuffles that happened at the end of the year. And Pere Riba then jumped on the Qinwen Zheng team. Next thing you know, they go to Australia. Zheng now makes the finals in Australia. Yes, she loses to Sabalenka, who happens to be in the same quarter over there. But what a crazy rise. And is it time to give Chinese tennis a shout out?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's time to give Chinese tennis a serious shout out, because we don't talk about Junshin Shang being up against Casper Ruud. We don't talk about Bu Yun Chakote being in the top 100 now. We don't talk about Yafan Wang coming through. I mean, there's so many names in Chinese tennis that are coming through. But, the big thing here is that Qinwen Zheng and Donna Vekic did make the Olympic finals. They're playing again here. And the thing here is, this is why I feel the Olympics is just an excuse. It didn't matter, because it's a best of 3 set match, and now they're here. The women are showing that they can be at the same stage again. So
What do you
why,
mean? What do you mean it's an excuse?
Why? Because it's 3-set match. It's a 3-set match for Alcaraz and Djokovic. I don't think it's a big. I don't think
No,
it's a
no,
big.
I don't. I agree with you. It's not. It's not.
a
It's
deal
not the
breaker.
physicality. Yeah, it's not the
a deal breaker.
physicality.
They could have skipped Cincinnati, and Alcaraz did skip one of them, and then he played one, and now he's playing the U.S. Open. Yes, he could have skipped another one if he wanted to, but there's no excuse for the Olympics being Alcaraz.
Other than the emotional part of it.
Yeah, maybe, but that too, he won silver, and yeah, of course, it was a 3-set match. Alcaraz got 3 Olympics left in him.
And Sabalenka, are we looking at the favorite for the tournament? In my opinion, the favorite of the tournament. If you
Wow.
if I had to put any of the players out there, I don't think it's a shot in the dark or anything like
Just
that.
tough for me to look past Swiatek when she's still there. And the big thing about the women is now the big 3 are still in. The Swiatek, the Goff.
yeah, but did you see how Sabalenka just
the
dismantled
Sabalenka.
the whole world in Cincinnati? I mean,
it's just
it
so
was a
difficult. It's difficult for me to tell you that. And Mukova didn't play, and there's so many things happening.
all right. So summary. I think we've kind of already talked about the summary of what is going on now with the women's draw. We have 16 players left. Who's your money on?
Do I have to say Mukova? I mean, I don't want to say Mukova. I just want somebody to, I just want people to watch her play. And I think she's a great, if somebody was to, take a chance on someone, I think Mukova is the one. But, the big 3 are tough to look past. When you talk about Swiatek, Sabalenka, and Goff, it's tough to look past them. And I would put Swiatek as number 1.
All right. And in terms of the biggest, what the hell is going on with these players, can we talk about Maria Sakkari, the other Greek? Can someone explain? Can someone explain to me what is going on? Because
Another
she's
first round?
consistently in the top 10, in the top 8. She's consistently making World Tour finals, and she's consistently underperforming at majors.
I mean, where does she make her points? Must be in the other tournaments.
Everything else.
Everything else, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't, because at the Grand Slam level, I feel like we always talk about her as out in the first or second round.
All right. So that's the Sakkari one. We already talked about Krejcikova. First time semi-finalist, Purav. There's a chance for Navarro. And who else? There's a chance for Kalinskaya.
How? Maybe. Kalinskaya, if she beat Haddad Maia today.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
anyway.
I mean, she has to go through. I just don't see anyone past the big 3 right now. And I think that if I am to put a bet, it's probably Mukova or Paulini as the 4 or 5 in there. And the winner of that match. They play each other, Mukova, Paulini.
Yeah.
And they play each other. I don't think Wozniacki gets a semi-final.
All right. So no Wozniacki in the semi-final now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, now.
All right, fine, fair enough. I think the fact that she's in the 4th round is absolutely unbelievable. Now that is the wrap that we've had for the men's and the women's draw, and now it's time, undoubtedly, to have the talk of the tour. Purav, what is the talk of the tour before the US Open? What were we talking about, really? Where do we begin?
Sure everybody wants to know what's going on with Yannick Sinner. What's the deal, Som, with Yannick Sinner? What's the deal with this drug scenario? He's been tested twice. He was tested positive twice, Indian Wells and Miami, and he was cleared, and now he's playing the US Open. I mean, in simple words, he was positive and he's playing. And I want you to take it forward before I come in for some more.
Okay, I'll begin. The first question is, do you believe Yannick Sinner or do you not believe? Erroneous, in my opinion. Doesn't matter. I believe him, but I don't think it matters because the tennis bodies believe him, WADA believes him, and he was cleared. He was cleared. He's innocent as far as everybody goes. Now, there's a few things over here that I would think about. First of all, can we all agree that WADA sucks?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but yes.
Is there a better? Can we start looking for better alternatives?
But why don't we look at the alternative of ATP not being good enough rather than seeing WADA sucks? Because you're looking at the bigger problem. You're looking at the.
I agree. I agree.
You're looking at the big.
Basically, what we're saying is WADA has mishandled cases. ATP has mishandled cases.
Yeah,
right?
and we said this for a long time. WADA handles thousands of cases with hundreds of different sports, and ATP has hired them. And we, as players, are only liable to the ATP. So why are we going into WADA and saying, and we got to be technically right when we're saying these things because we are still a part of the tour and we do have affinity towards the tennis players. So we are going to be, careful when we're talking about the subject. But at the same time, I agree with you. And what do people want to know? Do people want to know what is up with Yannick Sinner's drug scenario? And can WADA answer that question, so?
I mean, here's what I'll say. What the ATP Tour is trying to do is keep a clean sport. All of us are for that. All of us want that. Every player wants that. We don't want to scare players. And I'm just going to give a few different examples of different sports, different leagues. The NBA, the NFL, the Premier League, La Liga. We don't see players being banned for missing drug tests. We just don't see it. We don't see players being banned for, Viktor Troitsky, the case of Viktor Troitsky, where he was told by the doctor that he can come back the next day for a sample. He came back the next day, gave his sample, but then WADA said he'd missed the drug test, regardless of what the doctor on site said, right? So we don't want to see things like that. We don't want to see the case of Mikael Ymer missing a drug test and then being banned for 2 years, saying that that was his third violation. Now, and I think we've all heard players say how easy it is to actually miss one of these tests because your whereabouts clause, you have to give them exact times of where you're going to be at 7:30 p.m., 7 Fridays from today, which is, impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So my point is, we have to now protect the sport, and in that we also have to protect the players. So, and it seems like the other organizations that I mentioned, NBA, NFL, the football organizations in Europe, they do a much better job.
Yeah, mind you, we're talking about team sports. So when we're talking about team sports, the teams take the blame or take the onus. When we're talking about the ATP takes the onus, and that's where the difference comes in individual sports. And that's why I'm thinking that what is clorbestol? What is the drug that he was caught for? What is it known for? That's the key that I want to know. And the key here is it's known for increasing muscle mass, it's known for improving performance, and it's known for improving recovery. And that's my problem with this product. If he was banned for a Richard Gasquet famously banned for cocaine.
For kissing a girl.
For kissing a girl who was apparently, on substance and at a party. And it just seems like that, to me, seems like, okay, did that really affect Richard Gasquet's backhand? Do you think that really mattered? And the answer is no, because Richard Gasquet's backhand was still great, and it always would be great. Yannick Sinner is unfortunately caught for the substance that all tennis players look at as seriously cheating. And that's the problem. And that could be wrong.
1/1000th of a gram.
Yeah, it's also known as a topical cream, 1/1,000,000th of a gram, and that's the limit.
1/1000000000th.
1/1000000000th. 1/1000000000th of a gram, and that's the problem, right? That there's no limit. We think that 1/1000000000th of a gram is nothing, right? We think it's nothing. I remember a time
we don't think it's nothing. Everybody thinks it's nothing because that's the verdict that was given. Now, another question that I do have about this, which I found very puzzling. He tested in Indian Wells, tested in Miami. Both were positive. Indian Wells points and prize money came off. Miami stayed on.
Yeah. Why?
Who decides that? It seems arbitrary, because why did that happen?
I think they found that. I think they thought that the substance didn't affect him for that period.
But then why is it? Why do Indian Wells points and prize money come off?
Well, honestly, if he's been tested twice and positive twice, then he should either get it all or not get anything, right?
Yeah. This is where the whole confusion is get better. Get more transparent, get better. The problem is with players.
I think the first thing is ATP come up to a statement, launch a statement, say this is why we did it, and this is where we are at today. They've been very poor at transparency and consistency in this matter, and I think a lot of matters, but ATP needs to come out and say something.
Again, just the fact that it's public knowledge that they hid Agassi. They hid Agassi's situation. Again, non-performance enhancing, completely different scenario, or is it? I don't know. Who's to tell over here? But they just need to get better. They need to be more transparent. We need to work to a cleaner system.
Yeah, we're not far off the time. Remember how much cycling suffered when Lance Armstrong is caught. That's the level that we're talking about. If we want tennis to succeed, it's time the ATP come out and say what they feel. And I'm sure they're right in what they're thinking, but everybody needs to know what WADA and ATP are now thinking.
I agree. And that concludes our section of Talk of the Tour. Yannick Sinner, there's just so much we can go into it, but we will come back for it if he should win the US Open, I'm sure there's going to be more talks off the tour on that. But the last thing, let's talk about the final break points. The things that all the viewers should keep an eye out on as we're moving into week 2. Now, where do we begin here, Purav?
Yeah, I think, when we talk about... could we talk about the Indians for a second?
Let's talk about... I think we should talk about the Indians.
Shall we talk about Yuki Bambry, first time ever in the third round, unbelievable win against Krajcik and
How many
Roger.
times did you make third round?
3, but that's not the point. The point is that he's done it for the first time, and it's a great achievement. And the wins that he's had, and the point he's come through a very tough team to play an even tougher team, win Granola Zeballos. So that's the tough part for him. And a little bit about Bopana and the way that he's come through, and the way that he's, I would say a solid Sumit Nagal is now in the top 100, and we can expect to see more of him. And on Bopana's terms, he's back to normal in terms of he's on another run, and he's on a mixed doubles run and another men's doubles run.
Yeah, and mixed doubles as well. Don't forget that Rohan Bopana and his partner Suchiyadi,
Rajiv Ram, though, can he make it 4 in a row? I mean, really, he's winning.
That would be incredible. Don't forget, I mean, Rajiv Ram and Joe Salisbury. I mean, that is absolutely insane. They're winning again. 3 in a row already is first time in 100 years. I read some stat like that. That's crazy.
Right?
But can he make it 4?
Yes, he can, and that's the scary part. Rajiv Ram at the US Open with Joe Salisbury, pretty much unbeatable. And I think that now, after winning 3 in a row,
Now, all right, apart from that, who are the players that we're looking out for? The things that we have to see is there a possibility of an American finalist, the first one since Andy Roddick? Remember, Andy Roddick won it, but then after that, he also did lose to Roger in the finals at the US Open. So can we see the first one? Is it more likely to be tier 4? Fritz Nakashima is still around as well. That's a tough one because he has Zverev next. Or Purav's pick, could it be Tommy Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great time to see what American tennis is to show. And we haven't mentioned this one girl called Diana Schneider.
I love her.
She's Russian girl, almost top 15 in the world, and nobody's heard about her yet. I mean, she's definitely a dark horse for this tournament. We should be talking about her a lot more.
First title in Hua Hin.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that just the up of Diana Schneider is the joke.
First title in Hua Hin, lefty, not a whole lot of weaknesses. Extremely, gritty out there, which is one of the biggest things. I mean, talking about gritty, while Emma Navarro was at the University of Virginia, I spoke to the coaches over there. They were asking me to just check out her game, and we were all excited about the fact that she's an NCAA champion and whatnot. They said, she moves very well. She is extremely gritty, because that's what we were going for. We were asking about strengths. And
it's nice to say that to you, though.
It's nice to say that to anybody.
Gritty is a good thing for you.
I mean,
it's like something that you associate well with.
Well, I feel like it's an absolutely necessary ingredient to be successful in today's tennis. Coco Gauff isn't great because she's got the best forehand in the world. It's far from it. She's the greatest because she's supremely athletic, and she's incredibly gritty, and she doesn't back down from a challenge. She's always going to, and I love that. I love seeing that in people like Navarro. I love seeing that in people like Schneider. I think she's one of those players as well. And the fact that she is putting herself in the conversation, I think, means we'll see a lot more of her in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is our opening show. Thank you once again for joining us. Trying to keep it a little snappy over here.
You'll definitely see a lot more of us in the future, that's for sure. You'll see us coming to you a lot this week. I hope we can do a lot more for you guys, and keep sending us your thoughts and your analysis, and we'd be happy to accommodate you wherever we can.
Yes, talk about whatever needs to be talked about. This is our studio setup. Great effort from Purav to put this whole thing together. Once again, we absolutely love it. We can talk about this day in and day out. We do talk about this day in and day out, and now we're just happy that
keep coming back, guys.
Keep coming back. I've heard this on YouTube from all the other creators. Like, subscribe, and keep geeking out with tennis with us. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining in.
Cheers.
Hello, 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 everybody, and thank you for tuning in once again. This is our second show, and today we're going to talk about a preview of all the matches that we're going to see on this Sunday's edition at the US Open, men's and the women's fourth round action. Purav and I, how's it going? Are we ready?
Yeah, ready. Let's give everyone a plan of who's going to win and how's it going to happen this Sunday
What to expect?
at the US Open. Yeah, and what to expect, and a little preview on all the matches that they should. Really exciting tennis coming up.
All right, let's start off with the men's matches. First up on our thrash, big one between Andrei Rublev and Grigor Dimitrov. Purav, how do you see this one playing out?
I actually see it as a very, very close match. I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far by both the players. Rublev looking very focused, looking like he's, come of age, and finally looking like someone who can make a Grand Slam semi-final. We've spoken so much about Dimitrov. I mean, his excellence just keeps amazing me. His slice backhand, the way that he's, re-evolved his game from outside 50 in the world to back to the top 10 in the world. I mean, this guy hasn't dropped a set so far. I really, this match is on a knife edge. I mean, do you want me to predict it? Or
Yes,
will
you go ahead first. I'll give you after that.
Okay. I'll say really quickly. I think Grigor Dimitrov. This is his time to shine. I'm going to go with him in 4 sets.
All right, because I am completely the opposite. I think Andrei Rublev is going to win
Perfect.
this, and I do agree with you, because let's not forget that Rublev had this whole. He had issues. He had anger issues that he faced in Dubai. He got defaulted. After that, he's smashing rackets, and since that happened, in the American swing, he's been unbelievable.
Yeah. Then if this match was in the night, I would have picked Rublev. This match is in the day. I'd pick Dimitrov.
And again, why I know the big differences between night and day, but please
I just
give
think
us a
that the
bigger
conditions are a
explanation.
lot faster in the day. It's a lot more humid. It will help Dimitrov a lot more to play his creative game. And, Rublev would be a lot better in slower conditions, which happens to be at night, but they are playing in the day. So I'm going to go with Dimitrov in 4 sets.
All right, I'm going Rublev 5 sets because I think finals of Montreal follow that up with a really good performance in Cincinnati. He did take Yannick Sinner all the way there, played a really, really tight tight match against Yannick Sinner in the quarterfinals of Cincy, and I think currently he's in really, really good form. Also won from 2 sets to love down in the second round against Rinderknecht, which I think really adds a lot of confidence to players. All right, so that's Rublev versus Dimitrov. I'm going with Andrei Rublev. Purav's going with Dimitrov. Next one up, Purav, Tiafoe versus Popyrin. First meeting.
Tiafoe Popyrin, first time they've ever met. The issue I face with calling Tiafoe here is the fact that his returning is not good enough, and I think it's the weakest part of his game, and that's why I think Wayne Ferreira did help him a lot, but I still feel it's a very weak part of his game, and that's where Popyrin could use the fact that he's just beaten the best player ever on the planet, and he's been the GOAT of tennis and Novak Djokovic. I think Popyrin in 5 is where I'm going with this, and I think he's a man who's come of age, and he's gonna that resurgence of the Malise Godwin coaching team. I think
Don't forget Leighton Hewitt's in the box as well.
Exactly, and I feel like he's just
Jamin
won a
Crabbe.
Master Series. He's just won a Master Series. He believes too much. Yes, it's Tiafoe's best slam. Popyrin in 5.
All right, I'm also opposite, and I promise you, we're not doing this because we did not discuss what each other's picks were going to be before coming on this show. It's all as we're speaking
for it,
right
go
now.
for it, so.
I say Tiafoe, and the reason I'm saying that is because oftentimes we saw it with Botic van der Zandschulp. I love saying that name. But after he had that massive win, he had a massive letdown. We've seen that many, many, many times with players, and I think Popyrin also is going through something similar. Will go through something similar in terms of a letdown. And also, don't forget, he's tired.
Yeah.
He's played tons of tennis. The last time after winning Toronto, he came to, or whatever, after winning in Canada, he came all the way to...
close best stall.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. But however, let's go to the next match. The next match is Fritz versus Ruud. I'll go first over here. Two love for Ruud in head-to-head. I go with Taylor Fritz in this one. American conditions, Taylor Fritz. I mean, these are the kind of matches that he absolutely has to win. I know Ruud is the favorite on paper, but I have a feeling that Fritz is going to come through.
I agree with you. I think Fritz is going to come through, and I feel because Casper Ruud's been struggling, he was 2 sets to love down against Junshin Shang. It was a breakdown. He came back, won that match in 5 sets. He's just been struggling to get through matches, and I feel there is a time where a better level of tennis, and I think Taylor Fritz will bring that better level of tennis where Casper Ruud won't be able to come back.
Also, the main reason I'm picking that result or that upset is because they are playing at 11 a.m. And I think that the heat is obviously going to,
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to have a positive impact on Taylor Fritz's serve and the way he plays tennis. And the last one for the men's section, Nakashima versus Sasha Zverev. What have we got?
Oof, the two are very similar players. I mean, Nakashima has just had such a dream run. I mean, he's playing such good tennis. He's coming to the net a lot more. He's, hitting his backhand like a dream. But can you really look past Sasha Zverev in this one? I see this as a match where Sasha Zverev, it'll be a really shame if he loses this one, because this is his chance to win a Grand Slam. He's not getting a better fourth round match than this. Zverev in 5.
Zverev in 3. I think Nakashima he never made a quarterfinal. Obviously, great effort to get this far. Sasha Zverev is when you're making it a baseline battle,
Probably the best in the world.
He's
On the
just
baseline,
unbelievable.
probably the best in the
Unbelievable.
world. Yeah.
He's just unbelievable. Okay, let's move. We've finished the fourth round matches for the men. Let's talk about the women now. The first one, a rematch of the Olympic finals. Zheng versus Vekic. Different surface.
Nice match, isn't it? So I think it'll be better for Vekic to not play on clay against Zheng, and that's an advantage for Vekic. So will it be closer? I think it will. Will it?
Night match. Who does it affect
Night
more?
match. I mean, also probably favors Zheng a little bit more. I think she keeps the train running. I think Vekic just wants to win this too badly. I think she's just beaten her too soon, and I think Zheng in 3.
All right, I'm going with Zheng in straights. I think she has figured out Vekic. It was a steamrolling at the Olympics.
Yeah.
It was not close.
Yeah, I think the hard courts probably favor Vekic. She's had a dream run. Let's not take credit away from Donna Vekic. We were not talking about her in the same breath a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago.
A couple of years ago, Donna Vekic went through every surgery under the book, and the fact that she's back here, the fact that she's putting herself in these opportunities, semi-finals at Wimbledon, don't forget, finals at the Olympic Games, and now making a good run into the fourth round once again. However, Zheng, in my opinion, is going to be a little too tough. The next one, Badosa versus Wang.
Badosa, Wang, I see that. I mean, what a run by Wang to make a fourth round. And
A 29-year-old versus a 30-year-old.
Wow.
29-year-old in Badosa, who's just coming
Wang
off
to make a fourth round when she's 30 years old.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, credit again. Tough to look past Badosa. Yeah, she's also very happy with this fourth round match.
She is.
And
she did win 7-6 in the third.
Yeah,
in the last one.
That's the issue, that she was down and out against Roos, came back somehow, and that's the resurgence. Maybe that now she really believes. I can't look past Badosa. Maybe it's tight, but I think fourth round, you start getting the feeling that you're really in the Grand Slam, and then suddenly you're out, and I'm afraid Wang might feel that way. Badosa in 2.
I go with Badosa in 3.
Okay.
First match of the day. Who knows what can happen in the heat? Navarro versus Goff. That's who we have next. I'm going to go with this one. No bias here, I promise you, but I just feel that Navarro has beaten Goff at Wimbledon. She beat her convincingly, 4-3. I mean, Goff, she's going to have to deal with a lot. She's going to have to deal with the fact that she's defending champ. She's going to have to deal with the fact that she's not just lost in straight sets to Emma Navarro. So I believe Emma Navarro walks into this match as an underdog, but in my book, she's a favorite.
Yeah, and this match is on a knife edge, and I think that, Goff will be... has to play her best tennis. We saw a little bit of her best against Svitolina in that third set. I'm going to go Goff again in 3 sets. I just feel she has a little more grit to offer, and she's been in this situation a few times more than Emma Navarro, and I feel like on the hard courts, Coco Gauff.
Yeah, that's fair. And the last one, Sabalenka against Mertens. I think both of us are on the same page here. We
got to go with Sabalenka. I mean, remember, Sabalenka stopped playing doubles with Mertens because she wants to focus on singles, and now they're meeting in the fourth round. I mean, years ago. And Sabalenka Mertens won a lot of double slams together, so that'll be a match that they obviously know each other very, very well. Mertens has had a good run, now again making it to a fourth round.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable effort, and I love seeing people that don't have massive big weapons make it deep in.
It's tough to look past Sabalenka.
I agree.
We can't not put Sabalenka at the top there, and probably a straight set win.
Yeah, and 7-2 head-to-head there for Arina Sabalenka, and also the last 5 times they've played, Sabalenka has not lost a set.
Yeah.
So I mean, just
tough
I
to
think
look past the.
very
I
tough.
would not put any odds.
I think
on it.
Sabalenka is the favorite for the tournament. All right. Anyway, so that there you have it for the 4th round of the men's and the women's. Little bit of the Indians today.
Indians, yeah. Yuki's in action. He's in action against Granola Zeballos. I think that will be a tough outing. But, they're really, really good right now. Bambri Olivetti are one of the teams to beat. And they're in the last few months, they've really, shown me their class. And I think it can be an upset.
You talked about the fact that you think Yuki Bamri and Olivetti will potentially be inside the top 30 in doubles. Why?
I think because their game styles match so well. I honestly feel like Yuki Bambri is as good as at the baseline in doubles as anybody I've seen. And, just the way that he's come about. I honestly think they'll finish the year in the top 30.
Okay.
Both of them.
So there you have it. Yuki Bamri and Olivetti.
Obviously, Bopana's playing Ebden in the mixed doubles at some stage in the quarterfinals. And, I think that'll be a good...
I mean, it's honest. The way I see mixed doubles, I can't go into stats over here.
No. I think it's just on a knife edge. I think anything can happen. It's just a nice thing to watch as Bopana plays against Ebden. He hasn't done that for a while. And obviously he's also in the men's doubles.
Yeah,
Against Gonzalez Molteni.
Gonzalez Molteni, which I do think will be a tough match.
Yeah.
It'll be their first test. They haven't lost a set so far. Bopana and Ebden have been really, really good. But Molteni and Gonzalez, in my opinion, will pose a different sort of threat because they've been super successful. They've won tour events already. And let's see how that one goes. But I don't think that it's going to be that straightforward for Bopana Ebden.
Yeah.
Any final comments on the doubles?
I think it's good to watch. Good to watch them in action, and I think this will be the real test for both the Indian pairs.
All right, there we have it. That's a wrap, I guess. Again, we went through the men's 4th rounds for today, the women's 4th rounds for today, and also a few of the Indians in action. And thank you. Hope you guys do enjoy US Open on this Super Sunday, and we will see you tomorrow morning as we talk about what transpired on the Sunday.
Thanks,
Until
guys.
then, see you later.
Been a pleasure.